Alright, hello everybody and welcome to another WLDL matchup. Today we've got Bridge Burners Anonymous versus SADBOYS. This is in our Sange division, which is the middle division. Means it's pretty much the tightest division in terms of average MMR, how teams are ranked, so these games are always really exciting ones. Got the coin flip. Looks like BBA won the flip and shows second pick. SADBOYS took Radiant for side. And should be hopping into the draft in just a minute.
It is radio sounds.
Alright, so we've got Bridgeburners Anonymous. These guys were in WLDL last year, so we've got good data from them. SADBOYS, I'm trying to see. I definitely recognize some of these names from WLDL and HGC. I think they're a newly formed team. Alright, so starting off, we got Ricky and Primal Beast banned out by SADBOYS. Some of the bigger hitters in the pro scene right now. I think Ricky more so a pub star, actually. Hudge and Razor banned by BBA. Also very popular heroes at the moment. Razor, one of the most brutal offlanes. And speaking of popular heroes, we're going to open it off with a first pick Lina. Most picked hero of WLDL so far through the first week of games. Lina with 10 matches played, 60% win rate through those 10 games. So a very popular one, very versatile hero. Most often played in the mid lane, but works as a safe lane carry, works as a support. You could probably get away with Lina in the off lane. Because she's just a really strong laner, really strong hero. Her attack range and damage is brutal to lane against. You've got options to go caster or attacking. And so BBA is going to respond to that with an Underlord Rubik first phase, probably going to be your off-lane duo, 3 and 4 positions.
It is Radiant's ban.
But you could see Rubik move to 5 very easily as well. SADBOYS respond with a Snapfire, so leaning more towards the Lina being core, but you could play her as a 5 as well. Snapfire, traditionally played 4, also gets played in the 5 position pretty often. Really depends where their players prefer to play it. Getting into our next wave of bans, Drow and Sniper, another pair of popular cores that have been going around. Sniper has won 2 out of 3 games.
10 seconds.
Where are most heroes? Get that.
5 seconds.
Yeah, Lina, Razor, Drow, Sniper, most contested heroes overall between picks and bans. Drow also 3 games picked. 1, 2 out of those 3. So no surprise there. Viper would be our next most contested hero. Wouldn't be surprised to see that get banned out next. Pretty good answer to
It is Dire's ban.
Underlord in lane if you want to swap your lanes around. You know, with the Lifestealer ban. Interesting one there. I wonder if that's going to be protecting some strength cores coming up in the picks for SADBOYS. Snapfire, strength hero as well. Lifestealer traditionally does well against because of that percentage-based damage on his lifesteal passive.
It is Radiant's ban.
Outworld Destroyer, another very scary hero, especially in these tournaments. Versatile as well, similar to the Lina. Really exclusively played as a core, but can go in the mid or the off lane. and would spell some trouble for hero like an Underlord that doesn't have a lot of mobility other than his ultimate that is more of a slow mobility. And Pango and Shadow Fiend, respectively, for the last pair of bans. So really looking at a few different things from SADBOYS bans. These might be things that BBA has played quite a bit.
10 seconds.
I've got, since BBA has played in a few tournaments, I've got decent
5
data on what they like
remain.
to play. Ready to go. Snapfire, a bit of a block pick by SADBOYS. BBA's played 8 games with Snapfire. Underlord, very popular for them. They're very happy to play that. Favorite of their offlaners, 10 games played. And Jakiro is their most picked hero across the tournaments they've played. 13 matches, 53%. So looking more like a Rubik 4, Jakiro traditionally in the 5. They can swap them around if they need to, but they do kind of similar things in lane. Jakiro is more of a lane bully, so good at securing your safe lanes farm if you put them there. Potentially can be used to try to really hinder the enemy safe lanes farm if you put them in the off lane. And then good tower push out of Jakiro as well.
Radiant must choose.
Disruptor, so pretty much locks in the Lina as a core, barring some very funky shenanigans. Should be a Snapfire for Disruptor 5. Another pretty successful hero, and pretty popular hero. Yeah, 5 games, has won 4 of them across the matches we've seen so far in the league this year. Really good reposition. Will definitely come in handy when you have things like Underlord ult coming out, send them back through the portal once they get through. Obviously they can come right back through, but that can very much slow down the tempo of a fight that you're trying to set up with an Underlord ult. So I like that pick. Do have to be careful with some of those spells with the Rubik on the table. Rubik is pretty happy stealing spells from both these supports, and there is the Viper. Most likely going to be your offlane here as the draft shapes out. So that's going to put BBA in a tough spot for finding a safe lane core that can handle the offlane duo of Viper, Snapfire, 2 ranged heroes. Sniper, Drow banned out, so those are some of your favorite, and Shadow Fiend, some of the preferred ranged position 1 heroes. Viper just such a lane bully. Should be able to stand up to this Jakiro in lane, because that's where we would expect things to line up. But if you get a strong enough laning position 1 on BBA here, then I think you can handle it.
Wind Ranger at your service.
They're going to go with a Wind Ranger, so that's probably going to end up lining up mid lane for them. Not sure how the Lina Wind Ranger mid matchup is. I imagine it's a little Lina favored, because I believe Lina has the range and damage advantage there.
5 seconds remain.
And even if the Viper ends up being mid instead of the Lina, I think the Viper's okay with laning into the Wind Ranger. They could even swap that around if they wanted to, if they prefer that matchup, if they don't like the Lina Wind Ranger matchup. But I think you're pretty okay sending Lina mid against a Wind Ranger. What do these teams need? Both teams could really use more team fight. I like SADBOYS team fight. It's pretty good. You've got a lot of damage, AoE damage from really all of their heroes. A lot of spell damage overall, even if you're going a more right-click build with Lina. Viper, that's not nearly as popular right now. The like Bloodstone Shard build, more popular. Get Phantom Lancer banned out. That makes sense, I think. That's a hero that I think can deal with the Viper pretty well, because you can throw illusions at him and not have to worry about your own health pool. Faceless Void, so yeah, that would be... Yeah, Faceless would be brutal from SADBOYS. I wouldn't be surprised if they were hoping to pick that. Huge damage into it with Snapfire, great follow-up with the Disruptor ult. Lina also classically pairs super well with Faithless Void, and Viper as well. Both just so much damage into Chrono from the outside, especially having these 4 ranged heroes. Bloodseeker are going to get the last ban from SADBOYS. I'm not sure if they're looking to protect something there, or if they just think that that's something BBA would be likely to pick.
5 seconds.
They've played it a couple times, so could be a pick that they're particularly not interested in playing against. I think you're not lacking control. You could use a little more direct control on SADBOYS. I wouldn't mind seeing... Like, Sven's not amazing in the meta right now, but I feel like he'd do pretty well in this game. You've got 3 pretty squishy heroes once you stun them. If you can stop the Wind Ranger from wind running, you can blow her up really easily with the Sven. And it gives you a good front line, a reliable stun for SADBOYS. BBA, you've got a lot of good lockdown already. So you're not worried about that. Probably just looking for somebody to put out damage and help Underlord out front. So yeah, Bloodseeker would definitely fit that role. Not a pure frontline tanky hero, but definitely can handle being in the front. Plenty of lifesteal on the hero to help with that. Monkey King gonna be the last hero pick. That would be a pretty good pick here for SADBOYS as well. Similar to the Faceless, good setup for everything the rest of their heroes do. Just giving you a large area to control. You could go a little spicy. If you really wanted the Faceless, you could grab like a Mars here. They're gonna go Slark. Okay, so now they're very early game, and that is good. More reliable lockdown, still not something simple like a point-and-click stun, but pretty easy to land a leash and then turn that into more stuns. And they'll go the Juggernaut on BBA, so that is kind of similar to the Bloodseeker. Upfront melee core, not a proper tank, but definitely will be happy to eat damage. I think a little slower than the Slark, but once you get to your farm, can definitely beat a Slark in the later game. So yeah, overall, I think I'm going to give the draft advantage to SADBOYS. I think I like their team fight a little more. Both teams do pretty similar things. I also like their lanes a little more on SADBOYS, but I think this will be pretty close. I think both teams are pretty set up for success. And then as far as hats, this is a tough one. Both of these teams are really decked out. Got a Snapfire set, which we don't often see, but getting a little more common. The Disruptor has managed to have 3 heads on this mount, which is very interesting, because I don't think that's how that mount normally looks, unless that's a different one that I'm thinking of. You got multiple Arcanas on BBA, though. I think I'm going to have to give the hats to them. That Crow's Mask, Plague Doctor, Rubik is also quite nice. Alright, so as we walk to lanes, let's meet our teams. I think these will be pretty straightforward, even though I'm not positive of the positions on SADBOYS. I will call them out. We've got Disruptor on the position 5, Booty Knight on the position 5, Disruptor, Boots looking to be mid with the Lina. Got Captain Shack Sparrow on the position 1 Slark. Mies on the pause for Snapfire, and Nashi on the offlane Viper. On the dire side for Bridge Burners Anonymous, we've got Ivan Ooze on, looks like the 4 Rubik. God Ramen on the 3 Underlord. Rumen lining up in mid with the Wind Ranger. And then Pew 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 on the Jakiro pause 5.
30 seconds.
And Karataki carrying things on the position 1 Juggernaut. Nothing crazy going on for Bounty Rune, pre-game movements, got a blocked camp already. Now maybe setting up for something is SADBOYS. They're hanging out, maybe waiting to see if somebody's going to come down the stairs, maybe going to head up the stairs themselves, they will. Pew 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 throws down the fire, Mies follows up with a Scatter Blast. Karataki going to get forced to back away, which allows Booty Knight to grab the Bounty Rune. It's going to be 3 bounties for SADBOYS, so off to a good start for them, good movements to be able to push the Dire off of one of their normal secured Bounty Runes. Ivanu's going to match the blocked safe lane camp over here for Dire, see if Booty Knight's able to find this. Doesn't have the blue ward in inventory. Might just be planning to manually block that pull camp. So we're going to see some damage getting traded between Ivanu's and Booty Knight right off the bat. Back and forth. Booty Knight could be in trouble, going to have to walk through the Firestorm. And will survive, but already going to have to dip into that regen. Everybody else looking pretty full health so far. Mies playing a little deep, throwing some harass at Karataki on the Juggernaut. It's definitely, having the Snapfire in this lane against the Juggernaut is going to be very helpful, because once you have Fire Snap Cookie, that gives you a good way to get out of all of the slows that lead into the spin Jug that can be really devastating. Still trading blows down here in the bot lane, Booty Knight and Ivanu's. Still going to be able to walk things off, but both hurting. Well, Shaq Sparrow and God Ramen just get to farm away in almost solo lane. Ivanu's pops the clarity on Booty Knight. Going to slow down the mana regen a bit, but should be alright. Still plenty to work with for the Disruptor, including another Mango. Curious how this mid matchup is going to go. My gut is that it's Lina favored, partially just because of how strong Lina is right now. And if we look at 600 attack range, 53 to 65 damage versus... Okay, they have actually the same attack range and damage. So that does end up being... And that's going to be a very skill-based matchup then, because they have the same attacking capabilities. I did read that right? I actually switched over. Yeah. No, exactly the same base attacking range, and both opting to pick up a Fairy Fire, so completely even. Oh no, I was looking at Wind Rangers. Okay. Never mind. I never clicked on Lina, apparently, so Lina does have the range and damage advantage, just by a little bit. Bottle out already on both sides, each able to get their water runes. Like some harass happening bot. Nothing too crazy yet. Gug is a little low topside, but has that healing ward, so going to be okay now. Okay for now. Looks like just got a fresh pack of tangos out to make sure they're able to stay healed up. This is really just a brutal lane matchup on either side. Honestly, all of these lanes are pretty hard. Tons of harass all around. So I'm not surprised to see this even in killless so far. Let me get last hits up. Viper and Lina leading the last hits, but just by a little bit. So slightly edging out their opponents, which I think is to be expected. Like a cookie just missed over here in the jungle as the supports try to trade blows. Shaq Sparrow getting a little caught out, has to get pulled up, but jumps away with the pounce and is able to survive.
Hello, I'm Gabe Newell. You've just
and because of that, we missed First Blood, as is tradition on these streams. Ashley finds First Blood on Viper, or on the Jakiro, Dragon v Dragon. Scatter Blast coming in from the Snapfire. But most of the damage, apparently just from Viper auto attacks, because not a single spell cast on that side. Probably a bit of a slow death, and then the Scatter Blast set it up to be finished off. They'll reset things. Not a huge loss for your First Blood offlaner. to pause 5. Got things still getting traded. Starting to be a little bit of an advantage for the Underlord. Slark lowest on the last hits now, so this lane being in Dire's favor so far. Other two more Radiant favored, but still quite close. Only a few last hits ahead on either side. Just stun up on the Rubik. Shack Sparrow caught in the Firestorm and is going to go down with the Fade Bolt from the Rubik. They find a nice kill on the Dire side, slowing down Slark's farm. Captain Shack Sparrow getting picked up there. Lina gonna be the first to level 6 in the mid lane.
Don't burn your fingers.
She doesn't quite have enough mana. Got the 6-minute runes coming up very soon. And a Falcon Blade finished on the way for the Lina. The thing's definitely looking in her favor, kind of as we expected. Settling down now top, no mana, very low mana on the Viper. The limit they're able to do. Booty Knight getting low down here. The harass continues to come out from Ivanuz. And this Dire offlane from BBA. What else do we have? Obviously not much for items yet. There are bracers here. Got something on the courier for Slark. You have a lot of spells coming out from this Dire offline, so that should help Slark be able to stick in lane a little better. The Falcon Blade finished over here, looking for just the power treads on Wind Ranger. Lina's still up by about a level. Not even a level, like half a level. Wind Ranger should be to 7 pretty quick. See if we get any rotations. Nobody seemed to come mid for the mid runes at level 6. Who ended up getting... Okay, there's an illusion rune on Lina, so not the most impactful one. Probably just use that to farm. Doing Karataki, going for the Diffusal Blade first. I like that. You've got pretty mana-dependent heroes on SADBOYS. Mies just misses the cookie as the harass continues to come out from the hero. Got very close in last hits, but a lot more denies on Nashi here. So this lane's still in Radiant's favor. And mid lane pulled out quite a bit now. 15 last hits ahead for the Lina. So that laning power of Lina that we looked at in the draft is really coming into play now. What a teleport! That was a teleport bot side. I think to help get Captain Shack Sparrow out. You don't find another kill on the Slark yet. Still looking for a level 6 on the Slark to get Shadow Dance. That'll pretty much fully fix any regen problems they have here. This Mies now going to wander towards mid, maybe just to make sure the Wind Ranger doesn't push too far in, as Lina seems to have been forced to back. Or maybe just decided to for mana. Broomin now going to get a haste rune. Jack Sparrow goes down in the meantime bot lane. And so was going to use that haste to run down there. Figures, well, I'll just use it to hit things mid. As they continue to be able to beat up this Slark in the bot side. One day we'll catch a kill on screen, I promise. Nashi, looks like that was a tick out to the first Viper Strike of the game. Yeah. Finding another kill top on Pew 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 Pew. It looks like all of these kills have gone the same. Yeah, just the one assist on Mies to add to it. Disruptor didn't manage to get... Or sorry, no, I'm looking at the wrong way. Mies didn't manage to get an assist on one of Nashi's kills, because they were bot side. A little more support gold going one way. Mid lane, Lina able to win the fight over the Wind Ranger's Focus Fire. throwing down the stun and finishing it off with the Luna Blade. So continuing their victory in the mid lane. Gonna rotate away now, pick up some down here, maybe make a rotation bot side.
There is little hope for
Top Karataki taking some harass. Nashi can get the spin away, dodges the cookie that way. Booty Knight gonna play in with some food here too. Captain Sheriff pounces in, doesn't get the leash, but he's gonna start getting some damage on, uses Shadow Dance. We get a rotation in from the Wind Ranger off of the death. Kinetic Field comes down, Godroman getting low, but so does Captain Jack Sparrow. No focus fire yet.
Double kill.
Rumen finds both kills on Shaq Sparrow and Booty Knight, so that's going to get this Wind Ranger right back into the lane. Godroman is able to survive. It's a really nice TP in from Rumen. Bounces right back from the death mid lane and gains things up. 3 deaths now on the Slark is going to be trouble for getting off to an early start with that hero, which I think is the biggest advantage of running a Slark position 1. Is that he doesn't need a ton of items or levels to be able to play with the team. And now 3 heroes here. This could be danger for Captain Jack Sparrow again. Looks like Dire is going to choose to back away though. Similarly, 3 heroes top for Radiant as SADBOYS look to pressure down this tower and pressure Karataki off the farm, forced to sit in the trees for now. Who's here? Yeah, gonna TP away. Go find some safer farm mid where he's got more protection. Or not down mid, down bot. Boots is going to teleport mid. Doesn't quite hit the Light Strike array, but does force Bruman to back off. Minimal damage done to that mid tower. So good timing there, finishing off the tower from Boots, and then moving down to protect their own. Got support's playing a little bit up, trying to protect their wards as Booty Knight finds an Observer ward. Karataki gonna move in now towards Captain Jack Sparrow to contest that farm. They're gonna kind of bounce off of each other. Both try to farm with Now here comes the stun into the spin and the macro fire. It's gonna be too much, and Slark goes down yet again. The kill does go to Karataki, so while the lane's being won top and mid by Radiant, Slark getting very bullied in this early game. So, gonna be a pretty even start. Still a 2k lead for SADBOYS. Ivanu stepping up to Boots. With Bruman still in the area. Oh, long distance latch. Fadebolt comes out. Responded to with the Laguna Blade. Ivan Ooze does go down.
Killing spree.
But they find the kill on Boots, so Ivan going to be pretty happy with that as Bruman brings down the Lina. Switch over to net worth. I think, yeah, it's going to look very similar to the last hit chart. Lina and Viper out in front, followed by all 3 cores of Denied. And then Captain Jack Sparrow. Pulling up the rear, trying to find some farm mid now as Boots goes down, but Bruman is going to be a scary hero to deal with. We get a disconnect from Lina. Let's check some items while wait. Snapfire going for the Force Staff. I agree with you, Mies. That's my usual first thing on Snapfire. Just having all of the mobility from Cookie plus a Force Staff, you eventually get the Shard to upgrade your Cookie even farther. Just really plays into Snapfire's kit well. Especially to get in and out of fights, because you like being close to use Scatterblast and Cookie if you're cookieing yourself. But then you want to be far away from Mortimer's Kisses. So it really lets you engage and disengage the way you want to. Aether Lens coming out for Booty Knight first. And then Jakiro. Still looking for Mana Boot's Wand. Then low farm, unsurprisingly. Ready to continue. Moment. Godroman going straight for Guardian Greaves. So definitely looking to be able to dispel and heal up from a lot of the damage that Radiant's going to be putting out. They are a very high damage team, both physical and magical. Windranger's got almost a whole Maelstrom, so that's going to up her damage a ton with Focus Fire. Slark looking to get a Shadow Blade and a Falcon Blade. Fix some mana problems, and Shadow Blade Classic, as it lets him get full advantage out of Shadow Dance passives. There's some harass down on Karataki here with 3 heroes. Like, Boots having some game issues. Or computer issues. Keep looking through some items. Now she has the Dragonlance finished, and then, yeah, immediately working on that Bloodstone, as is the popular build. Once we see that Bloodstone come out, and then especially the Shard to follow, it is very scary. That is, like, exactly what a Viper is doing in most games right now. Glimmer Cape coming up for Rubik, that'll help disengage from a lot of these fights and save a lot of magic damage that's coming out from this whole Radiant team. Because even these right-click focused cores, other than Slark, Viper is going to be high magic damage with the poison attack. Lina is mixed damage as well with her spells. Nothing queued up for the Lina yet. Probably just because of the reconnect, because I believe when you disconnect and reconnect, you get your quick buy cleared out. Does have the Boots of Travel, so we'll be able to play around a lot and respond to the Underlord's ult. Like we should be resuming in just a moment. Anybody I didn't get a chance to look at? Juggernaut running away. The Diffusal Blade almost done on the Juggernaut. The 3 heroes on either side now. We'll see if either team wants to engage here. They're going to pick up the Nether Toxin. Now Static Storm going to get dropped on top of Karataki, and they are going to find enough damage, so a great little catch there by the Disruptor. Silencing down the Juggernaut, able to stop them from being able to spin away. Find a quick little kill there. Godralman using the portal, the Fiend's Gate, to get down to bot lane, but not fast enough as that kill on Juggernaut came out very quick. So we'll see if Dire wants to try to create pressure back. The heroes they have down here. Neat's gonna get spotted, placing some wards. Neat's gonna spot Pew 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 Pew, throwing down a ward behind the tower. Illusion Rune on Lina. I think that was just sitting in the bottle for a while. Rumen doing work on this mid tower. Now Rubik gonna solo smoke, see if they can draw something out with Thras on the tower. It's gonna rotate in. Throw some damage down to protect the tower. You've got Booty Knight on the Disruptor nearby as well. I'm gonna find this ward, and as we roll into nighttime, it's gonna significantly reduce Dire's vision here in this lane. Coming back around, maybe we can try to contest this. Things a little bit of a lull now, as teams just kind of happily farming where they found space. It looks like everybody's pretty much found space, but now maybe some movements from BBA. They're gonna step forward. Oh, nice stun from Neat with the cookie. Get the initiation on to Rumen and the Windranger, and with that Static Storm, they find 2 kills to start off the fight for SADBOYS. Here come the Mortimer's Kisses to respond. Macropyre dealing lots of damage along with the Firestorm, so Nashi does go down, but they trade their offlaner for 3 kills. SADBOYS taking that fight with some nice setups and nice responses to the movements of BBA. Yeah, tons of spells coming out from these 4 heroes. And both carries off on their own farming at that point, so the kind of fight that either side wants to see. But obviously SADBOYS favored in how it played out. The kill on the Viper is pretty important, though. Slows down that Bloodstone timing. Now they're going to rotate towards Karataki, who's just going to have to spin and teleport away. Lots of damage coming out, but it's not quite going to be enough. Even with the Viper Strike still ticking down. Able to escape in typical Jug fashion. Jack Sparrow finished the Falcon Blade, still working on the Shadow Blade. We'll have most of that quite soon. Neck finished on God Ramen. As it looks like Dai are going to turn their attention towards this bot tower, try to reduce some of the farming space that Slark has, who's now gotten out ahead of the Juggernaut, having found some more space, and Radiant finding some kills on Karataki. So, able to get some recovery here, though Jug does now have the Diffusal Blade finish. Mid, Bruman taking lots of damage from Boots. Lina Blade still available, but not able to get in range. Maelstrom finish on Lina as well. Definitely leaning into the attack damage build as you'd expect. Bot side Shack Sparrow and Booty Knight going to try to push Karataki off of this tower. We've been having pretty good space to farm, just getting caught a couple times in these engagements, getting pushed out. Karataki now going to step forward towards Shack Sparrow, going to get glimpsed back, it spins to remove it. Oh, Ice Path doesn't quite connect. Pew 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 pew. So, nothing lost on either side there as they step back away. And he's going to cover mid now, see if Boots wants to prevent that from happening. Just going to protect the tower here. Still only one tower down on either side. Now, pew 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 pew. Get caught with the kinetic field into the leash. Throws down the macro fire, but it won't be enough. Might slow down this push a little bit as the creep's going to be forced to walk through it. They're going to hinder Radiant's ability to take that tower, and now we're going to get God Ramen rotating in along with Ivan on the Rubik, and they'll quell that push. Rumen has been slowly chipping down this Radiant mid tower. Could be falling soon. Boots has been attending to it quite well. Keep it alive. Alright, line's getting drawn as Radiant look to make a move towards mid. Try to push this Wind Ranger off the tower. Disruptor going to teleport in. What they go for. Boost just going to step right up and challenge them to do something. Baiting a little bit, taking some tower damage. And back away. Pew 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 pew. Get some vision into the Radiant Triangle. We'll get away with that pretty cleanly. Waves getting cleared either side. Both teams just kind of doing the standoff middle dance. Seeing if somebody's going to make the engagement. Stun thrown out, but nothing committed. Lina going to find a regen rune. Shadow Blade completed. See if that does anything for this next fight. We've been working on the BKB on Wind Ranger. Got Bloodstone finished on Viper as well, so this could be a really big timing between the Shadow Blade and Bloodstone. 4 heroes now here, Karataki not far by. Snatcher going to get stunned up. But in response, they throw down the Light Strike Array into the Mortimer's Kiss as God Ramen falling low. The Lunar Blade finishes it off. Now Wind Ranger caught in the Static Storm, going to get brought down as well. Karataki steps in, does get the kill in the back lines on the Disruptor, and the return Static Storm. Not catching much, but now Nice left behind. Karataki going to find that kill. Brought down by Boots. Boots teeing up now. No spin left for Jug, who does go down as well. Boots with a triple kill, make it an ultra.
Ultra kill.
And that is the power of Lina on this patch. Up to level 18 off of this fight. Full team wipe, 3 for 5. And Slark farming away. Captain Jack Sparrow very much back in this game, getting a lot of space made from their team. Just about every spell used. across the board, except for Slark.
Dyer's
Having fun
bottom
farming.
tower
It's a
is
huge
under
4v5 fight. Huge showing from that Bloodstone Shadow Blade timing. Now LSA on Bruman, who's right back in. One last hit, and it hits through the evasion. And that is devastating for Bruman. Boots cleaning up. That actually moves Slark off of that fight ahead of both of the Dire cores that they've been behind all game. So SADBOYS now fully in the driver's seat, 11k ahead. So much of that net worth on Lina, 4k ahead of anybody else in the game, and a full 6k ahead of anybody on the Dire side. This Lina hero is so scary as soon as she gets her space and able to create space herself with just how strong her laning is. Gonna make a big rotation now top for Dire. Throwing down things on Nash, can get Force Staff back forward into the Macro Pyre, but so tanky, and with that Bloodstone, now here come the Mortimer's Kisses. Karataki taking huge damage, but not able to get out. Finally goes down, Nashi does as well, to the Macro Pyre. You get the return kill from the sports on Pew 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 Pew, and now Boots is in, so that's going to be tons of pressure. Captain Shaq Sparrow as well into the backline, leash onto the Rubik. Dealt massive damage and brought down by Shaq Sparrow. So another fight in SADBOYS' favor, going to finish off this tower.
Dyer's top tower is no more.
They continue to look absolutely devastating in this first game of the series.
Radiant's bottom tower is
It was
under
looking
attack.
very even for so long, and now you've got the full BKB on Lina as well, off of those last few fights. Just so far ahead on this hero now. Going to be difficult for BBA to come back to.
Dyer's
See, what do they
middle
have
tower is
going
under
for them?
attack.
They've got Guardian Greaves done, most of them Manta. Manta on Jug will be huge. The spells and dodges can be very powerful against Lina and her spells, as long as you can get your timing right. Bruman almost done with the BKB, that'll be pretty big. We've seen Wind Ranger starting to get torn apart by the advantage Lina's gotten. The levels on the, Lina's now a full 6 levels ahead of anybody, 7 levels ahead of anybody on Dire. That is absurd. 9-1. Boots just popping off here today. Get a little bit of engagement. Lina fighting potentially 1v5. Finds 1 kill on Ivanus now, but this could be the end of a big kill streak. No, just BKBs and TPs it off. Finds a nice cheeky kill. 5 heroes, no worries. Does leave the team a little bit exposed as Grim going to step forward and Captain Shaq Sparrow. Dodgy Wind Ranger, able to evade Nisa's spells. The BBA trying to find the space, get back into this one. Got Hood finished on Underlord, going full traditional offlane items, team AoEs and support. As SADBOYS look to set up on this bot tower. Captain Shaq Sparrow and Mies seeing if they can find a jump on somebody. 4 heroes posturing for the Dire, while Karataki is able to farm topside. Like, all 5 have arrived for SADBOYS now, so we could see another massive fight breaking out. We're gonna start off with a stun from the Shackle Shot into the Power Shot on Booty Knight, falling down low. Ice Path now cuts through the fight, and they get an early kill on Karataki from Boots. Mortimer's Kiss is out as well. Now Bruman gonna find the return kill on Boots. Huge kill, over 1,000 gold for this Wind Ranger. They're not going to be able to escape with their life as they're brought down by the remaining Radiant heroes. Captain Shaq Sparrow all the way in now on God Ramens. That is an enemy kinetic field from Ivan Ooze. Shaq Sparrow looking for a way to re-engage. Mies doesn't quite find the stun, but does get the slow on Pew 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 Pew. Dire will escape for now, but Nashi teeing off on this tower.
Dire's bottom tower is
So Radiant get what they came for, but not without a price. Lina does go down, and despite both Jug and Windranger dying, that's still a gold advantage for the Dire. As BBA finally bringing down that Lina, who's just an absolute monster. Underlord now at the top of net worth for Dire, and just ahead of the Slark for
Generation!
overall a 15k gold lead still for Radiant. Jack Sparrow gonna get pinged out, see if Dire wants to set up something. Plenty of heroes in the area for SADBOYS, and Lina about to respawn. Ag's almost finished on Nashi. Card has been done for a while as well. I have the full nosedive and corrosive skin buff.
Dire are scanning for enemies.
So with the Bloodstone, that has been a devastating popular build on the Viper. The smoke up from the Dire.
Money to burn.
Not sure if they're going to find something here. Karataki is going to step towards Boots. Smoke not quite popping. They dodge down stairs. Nashi looking to set up for Roche. Looks like SADBOYS all making their way there now. I don't know that Radiant's going to be... Or sorry, the Dire's going to be able to contest this. Still got Kinetic Field on Rubik, but with all of the damage from these three cores, SADBOYS, this will go uncontested, and your first Aegis will go to the hands of the Slark. Karataki looks like his finish... Oh, ends up going Sange and Yasha instead of Fnatica. So looking for a different form of durability. Go pretty well. Also setting up with the Shard. Slark working on the Ags. Drastically increases the mobility on this hero. Also has Depth Shroud, which is really an incredible support ability for the Slark. You can do things... It essentially gives you a second charge of Shadow Dance, if nothing else. It's just a stationary one instead of following Slark around. But also can be used to save teammates really effectively. It's really annoying to play into. Not plus the Ags is going to make Slark incredibly hard to deal with. The last of the tier 2 towers will go down, and he's picking up Outpost as well for the SADBOYS. Karataki is still finding space here. Sange and Yasha complete. Looking for that Blade Fury upgrade. Bot tower could finally fall. Won't quite yet. Boots not even opting to deny it. Karataki gonna spin TP, and having become aware of Boots' presence down in that lane. Let's see, BKB finish on Windranger, Captain Jack Sparrow thinking about jumping in. Maybe had a good chance to with the leash, but knowing that BKB was available means could have easily dodged out of it. Or maybe not. Is that not dispellable at all? But would have had the Windrun available too, so not necessarily would have gotten a ton of damage on the Windranger there. Dire now forced back into their base with all of their towers down. You do see some of these Radiant heroes farming off in the triangle. Just gonna do what they can to keep the waves balanced. Find some kind of farm. Jack Sparrow almost done with this Ag Scepter, and with an Aegis, wouldn't be surprised if they're just going to buy that outright. Ag's Scepter and Shard being looked at by Disruptor as well, who has their own Force Staff. And Force Staff opting to go Glimmer Cape on the Snapfire, and now setting up for a Lotus, so not going with Shard yet.
Illusion.
Which has been a pretty popular item for the Snapfire. Interesting to see. to get that eventually. I mean, the Lotus is pretty big, having that Dispel and save for your teammates off of things like the Shackle Shot. He's throwing a cheeky little cookie up at the Wind Ranger, able to step away. Always tough to find a creep that's facing the way you want it for those kind of plays with the cookie. Here a BKB. I don't see... Who did it? Oh, Bruman. Okay, I didn't see it, didn't happen. We won't think about it. Alright. SADBOY is not making a hard push into the Dire base yet, even with the Aegis. Farming with it for now. They've got a minute left on it, so good chance we'll see them make a big push in now. It is a hard team to push into. Between the Underlord and the Jakiro in particular, so much base defense from this Dire team, BBA. Got Gem picked up by Disruptor. We'll get a smoke, so this could be the play. Only 40 seconds left on this Aegis. But with the advantage they have, Radiant might not need it to be able to make their siege here. Unit sets up the Gem, and now Captain Shack Sparrow is in with the leash. It's stunned up. See, have to be careful now here with the timing left on Aegis. That does give Boots a natural space. Ooh, big Shackle Shot here. Onto the Lina, huge stuns on Boots, getting brought down. Karataki, is it going to be enough? No, the life steal. All of this heal, the Satanic on the Lina. Pew 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 is the first to go down. Aegis does get found as the Mortar's kisses come out. Karataki goes down, Godaramen as well. Ivan Ooze going to be the next to fall as Captain Shack Sparrow finds the leash. Barracks disappearing, buybacks getting used. Ice Path laid out, does catch the Lina as she steps forward. Pew 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 though, all of that range from this Lina. The kinetic field now, oh, Ivan Ooze getting brought down right at the steps of the fountain. Roman gonna step out now. Can't find the Shackle Shot with the Shadow Blade. And this is just about game over. See if Dire decides to call it. Might decide they have one more fight. I think once the Jug comes back up, they'll give it one more try. Try to keep these creeps pushed off of their base. Another set of racks, mid lane gonna fall now. BBA does get a catch onto Boots with the BKB, able to pour out the damage from all of the right clicks coming from Boots. Karataki now in, Boots has to be careful. Of course, bounce back as Shack Sparrow jumps in. And now teeing off on Godaramen is Boots. Nashi will help secure that last kill. Oh no, glimpse back on Bruman into the kinetic field, Captain Shack Sparrow. Get the leash. And Static Storm secures the kill. Karataki goes down top side, trying to clear out Boots. And with very few buybacks and heroes remaining, this is surely the end of the game.
Dire's top tower is under attack. Dire's top tower is
The last barracks will fall.
Dire's barracks has fallen.
SADBOYS picking up mega creeps. 37,000 gold lead. Turn towards those tier 4s, which will not be long for this world. All of the armor reduction and damage. Boots. They're just going to sit in Fountain, let this game be ended in the old-fashioned way. As SADBOYS take game 1 in this best-of-2 group stage series. Good game on either side. What a performance from SADBOYS. (29-12), 35-43. Your final score. MVP 100% has to go to Boots. Just absolutely terrifying performance on the Lina. And overall, great showing from both sides, it really was a very even game until it wasn't. Let's see, yeah. As the graphs show, actually a slight lead, very even draft according to the win probability, which I agree with, and that stayed at completely even for so long. And even as Radiant started getting the net worth lead, it still seemed to be slightly Dire favored, and then things just took off for SADBOYS on the back of that Lina carry. Ooh, wow. that graph says it all. You could say it was that was where most of the farm lead was, but the Slark had been so shut down in the early game that it really looked very even for a while because the Slark was getting kept off farm. The beautiful thing about Alina, though, is that even out of the mid lane, Alina can be your carry. And that's kind of how this ends up getting played, especially with like the Slark safe lane. Slark doesn't need to be your late game carry. Slark doesn't need to be Slark can do things in the early game and then can come online later. But when you have the Lina can just run away with the game like that. Support of the game is pretty even. I saw good performances all around. Gem pickup does offset Disruptor's support contributions quite a bit. Yeah, I think I gotta go with the Disruptor. A lot of really good static storms throughout that game. Found really important kills. There was the kill on Karataki, after the pause, where Disruptor dropped the static storm on the camp they were farming, and that set up everything for that kill to be able to be found. So really good play there. Yeah, and that'll do it for Game 1. We'll take a little break. Be back soon for Game 2. Alright, hello everybody. We are back for game 2, just getting the lobby set up and finalized. And for game 2, I am joined by Gabe Gonzo. How you doing tonight?
Doing good, man. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Had a really fun game 1. SADBOYS took it. And so I'm excited to see how BBA is going to respond for game 2.
Nice. Yeah, I'm familiar with both these teams. I've gotten ass whoopings from Captain Shaq and Nashi way more than I'd like to admit. And I used to play with the BBA guys. The BBA guys are pretty resilient. They're really good in game 2, just from my experience. They do a decent amount of research and scouting, and they're really good about making adjustments, especially with Wraithen and Brewman. The two of them kind of go through and figure out what little mistakes, the small stuff that they could look at to improve, and usually do a pretty good bounce back for the game too.
Nice. We should be in for a very good one then. I also just noticed these two teams for team average MMR that they're ranked by are exactly equal. They're both 26-10. So not surprised how close our game 1
Nice.
at least to start, and then SADBOYS ended up running away with it, but it was a very close start. So yeah, I'm expecting some juicy stuff for game 2.
Nice. Do you think they respect Bandolina?
I think you have to. It was a first pick Lina too. So I don't think you can let it go through. Unless they want to pick it themselves, because it looks like SADBOYS will have second pick this time around. So BBA may look to pick it themselves.
Right. Yeah, I always feel like when I play in a league, especially with people you kind of sort of know and have played against before, like I feel like doing the knee-jerk ban can be good, but then, if you've done prep and research ahead of time, before the game 1, is there a ban you then let through in order to hit that Lina in that first phase?
Yeah. Yeah, I think there are bans from BBA last game where I know there's a Primal Beast. I don't remember the other one, but it definitely seemed like they had an idea. It was one of the other, it might have been Tusk, it was one of the other popular either mid-heroes or other. Oh, it was Ricky. That's what it was. It was the support Ricky ban.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, that definitely felt like they had a plan with those bans, so we'll see if they think those are still more value than the Lina, or if they're going to take it away and force SADBOYS to try something else.
Gotcha.
And we are into the draft, so we'll see that play out right now.
It is Radiant's ban.
And it is the Lina first ban from BBA. Gotta give it their respect after what it did to them last week.
Yeah, I did see a bunch of game 1 floating around the house and stuff. I had it on my phone. And the one time I did see Lina kind of push through and get a kill on the Wind Ranger, like right in front of the tier 2 tower mid. So yeah, I can kind of, even just from that 10-second clip, I can feel the Lina ban. Like, yeah, we don't want to see that again.
Yeah. Razor, I think SADBOYS did ban out in game 1. BBA can opt to ban the sniper as well. Similar things that Alina does as far as a right-click carry out of the mid lane, and they go with the Pudge.
Nice.
As their opening pick. Another nice versatile one. I'm curious, since you said you know them pretty well, do you know where they like to play this Pudge, or do they have that flexibility?
They have new flexibility. I know 4 of the 5 guys. I don't know Ivan Ooze, so that wild card gets thrown in there. I would guess it's gonna be a 4, a roaming Pudge.
Okay.
Would be my guess. Get him nice and beefy, float around, grab a couple hooks early on, and disrupt the enemy safe lane
10
a bit,
seconds.
and then kind of wander off. But that BKB,
5 seconds.
breaking ability on the ult is pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Dyer's
Alright,
turn
and
to
then
bat.
SADBOYS responding with Darkseer Ricky, and then we get the Viper to finish out the first phase of picks. So the Ricky, like I said, was banned out by BBA Game 1, so that was definitely something they scouted as SADBOYS playing.
Mhm.
Out of most often the 4 position right now, it
10
can
seconds
still be
remaining.
played core, but it hasn't been as powerful
5
there as it is
seconds.
with the Shard for the
Radiant's
huge
turn
setup.
to ban.
With the sleeping dart, and then Darkseer as probably their offlaner. I would expect this is their 3-4 duo they're showing.
Dyer's turn to
Yeah,
bat.
it's crazy, man. I love playing Ricky now. I hate playing against it because the last thing you want to do is nod off in lane. Like, I feel like it's worse than doing it in class, and like you do that whole head hit the desk, wake up, everybody's looking at you type of thing.
Yep.
It feels worse in game when you get a sleeping dart in the side of your neck, like it just came out of a
5
blow dart,
seconds remain.
and you're just sitting there waiting for people to just carve you apart.
Yeah, it is some brutal setup. I'm curious to see if they
Radiant's
have
turn to bat.
something specific they want to pair it with. Or just because it's a good setup no matter what, as long as your team is like ready for it. But I've seen it played with like the Dawnbreaker, which has been very popular out of the off lane
10
or in other
seconds
lanes.
remain.
Which just anywhere on the map, Ricky is
5
probably there. If you don't
seconds
see him,
remain.
he puts you to sleep, and then you get the full force of a sun crashing down on top of you from wherever the Dawnbreaker had just been farming, and usually you're dead.
Yeah, the other part of it too is it's very similar to like a bounty hunter where he gives the other team information.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, they're going team purple, so with the Darkseer Ion shot on an invisible Ricky, really could mess people up. So I feel like BBA is going to have to definitely make sure they keep an eye on their little status bar to make sure they're not getting Ion shelled secretly by an invisible Ricky.
Yeah, for sure. Alright, we've got Nyx, Lifestealer, Nyx and Nakes banned out by SADBOYS, and then Drow,
10
Juggernaut
seconds.
banned out for BBA. So no built-in BKBs this game. You gotta
5
build it yourself.
seconds.
Right.
And
It is Radiant's ban.
the Shadow Fiend ban will come out. So a lot of carries, honestly, even with Sniper, Shadow Fiend, or Lina, even if they were played in the mid lane, essentially all 5 bans getting used on carries here. Whether it's going to be a safe lane or a mid lane hero.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of the strat. I always tell people, like, being a support player myself, even in bans and drafts and when you play against leagues and captains mode, I hate wasting. I don't say waste. I hate using bans on supports, on enemy supports, especially if you've done a little bit of scouting.
10 seconds
Because usually it's that
remain.
1 or 2 guy that's going to be running all over you. But supports do still make the game, so you gotta have to strike a nice balance between wanting to spend
Enchantress.
bans on support heroes or utility heroes, and going after all cores. I think really puts a little more pressure on the position 1 and position 2 of the enemy team.
For sure. There is the possibility. I mean, you said you expect the Pudge to be your roaming 4. You could put the Pudge in the 1 position as well.
5 seconds.
So if BBA already has that kind of locked up in their mind, then it makes it even more powerful, because then those are purely one-sided bans.
Yeah, I mean, you could go old school. We could take it back a few years and go Pudge mid.
Yeah.
Which frees up the Viper to kind of be a little tanky. I mean, the Viper and the Tiny at this point, with the current lineup of 4 heroes, could be interchangeable. Either one of them could be the 1 or the 3 if they decide to go with a Pudge mid. But they also could still go with a Pudge 4. The Enchantress could be, I mean, I would probably put her as a 4-5 based on the fact that you have a Viper and a Tiny. Enchantress Viper would really just suck to play against.
Yeah. Yeah, that lane would be brutal. On the other side, we've got Ogre, Magi, and Leshrac. So tons of magic damage showing up for SADBOYS now. Good setup for a Leshrac with the Darkseer. So Leshrac, and despite being like full magic damage, is another one of those mid lane heroes that can carry a game for. So maybe that is SADBOYS setting up to have the Riki in the one position as an option, so you're not as worried about having like a true full power carry in your one role. Or it could be an offlane Leshrac as well, and the Darkseer could go somewhere else if they really wanted.
Yeah. I mean, the Lesh gives them a good amount of magic damage. It gives them ability. It gives them an ability to kind of get after the Enchantress and harass her a little bit during the laning stage, because you're not worried about right clicking. You're just point clicking and throwing on your spells and stuff. I'm kind of curious how rough it could be once the Enchantress gets somebody kind of slowed down and Pudge just rotting all over them.
Yeah.
I feel like that'd be some toxic ass type of nonsense that I would start looking at uninstalling files for.
Yeah. Yeah, Enchantress paired in lane with Viper or Pudge just sounds horrible to have to play into. And they really have a lot of flexibility in this BBA draft so far. Your Tiny and your Pudge can both be supports or cores. Your Viper and your Pudge can really play in any lane as a core. So I'm not sure exactly what they're looking for here. SADBOYS seems to think they're looking for a position 1 with the Slark ban, and a Medusa ban as well. I wouldn't be... you'd really have to have the Pudge carry pretty hard for BBA if you aren't picking a carry here, because they don't have a ton of late game potential other than a Pudge. Tiny has like farther late game with the like crit Ags build, but I think that kind of one Tiny hasn't been as popular recently, but I think it still works.
Yeah, it definitely works when you still got a Pudge. You have a Pudge. If you have a Pudge and you land a decent hook and you're pulling him towards your team, now you're getting slowed. You have Nether Toxin sitting underneath you. You get thrown up and avalanched. So like there's a ton of burst damage. But on the flip side, I don't really know if you want an Ogre Magi buffing a Leshrac or a Darkseer running at the BBA team, all with Ion Shells, with an Invisible Riki, waiting to just drop smoke, do a little tricks of the trade, and then a Sleeping Dart. Like I feel like that does a lot of damage. And again, the Riki, not only is he going to get them information, he's going to make BBA spend money. So they're going to want to protect themselves. They're going to have to hopefully come up with some crafty ways and crafty locations for sentries to prevent that Riki from being, that semi-initiator, spy guy type of thing.
Mm-hmm. The Death Prophet is what Bridge Burners finish it off with. So I'm still not sure. I think it has to be the Tiny or the Pudge carry. I'm very curious which we're going to see. And then now to round things off from SADBOYS, there have been so many carries banned out in this draft. What is left that looks good? You could do maybe a Faceless Void, kind of finish off the purple and blue theming you've got going on, as well as you've got a lot of damage that goes into it with a Leshrac for sure.
Yeah, I was thinking they can go Luna. They could go... Okay, never mind.
There you go. Yeah, no, don't... That was the only thought you had, was they could go Luna, and you were right.
I was thinking Luna, if we were sticking with the blueness. I figured that Luna may be a PA, but the PA might not throw out enough damage. But at least this way, the Luna doesn't have to directly attack the Enchantress, but she's going to catch a little bit of beatdown from Luna damage. So I think that really does work out. The aura is going to be pretty useful, and it's going to be able to purge off. If you go man to Luna, it's going to be able to purge off any silence that Prophet throws down on someone.
Mm-hmm. So whose draft do you like better overall? It looks like it will be the carry Tiny and the 4 Pudge. based on where these players positioned last game.
It's tough. I am a fan of stuns, and SADBOYS is stacked with them.
Yeah.
The problem is that BBA is so tanky and so tough to take down. Like, it's almost like not even going to matter if you stun a Pudge or a Tiny. Like, they're going to walk it off in, 0.75 seconds. They're like, did someone try to put me to sleep? I didn't even feel it.
Yeah, and BBA, I like their durability on kind of both sides of the table, with a ton of magic resist from Pudge and Viper, and then a ton of physical resist from like Enchantress's passive and from the Tiny as he grows. So yeah, this is feeling like another pretty even draft overall as we expected. I think I got to give the edge to BBA as well, with all of that durability and quite a bit of disable on their side as well.
Yeah,
no
I gotta
huge
agree.
Team fight stuff side.
Yeah, I mean, the Pudge is ult's low cooldown. Viper's is middle. DP's got a long one. So I think part of that comes down to me being able to, like the Tiny, setting it up for the Tiny. So if they can get Tiny into good position with some good information and vision, I think that will be a big determining factor of how team fights, end up.
Yeah, definitely the timing of the Death Prophet ult, probably playing against like the Wall of Replica ult on the Darkseer.
Consider yourself warned.
Could be where we see those team fights kind of playing around. And I've seen that Death Prophet is at her most effective when using that timing of the ult well. And so we'll see if Bruman is able to pull off some of those nice, get a kill, get a tower kind of ults.
Yeah. I already got a D ward. I feel like the Shrek might not make it. Oh! Alright, I'll take that. I'll take
yeah, Hook hits
a
the
dodge
rune,
for 40 gold, yeah.
and Boots will step back. So nothing too spicy for the runes as we get into the game. It will be Darkseer, Ricky, topside, Nashi and Booty Knight, laning against the Carry Tiny from Karataki, and Ench 5 for Q. Boots and Bruman squaring off in the middle lane again. Leshrac versus Death Prophet. And then bot side once again at it right away. Nis and Ivan Ooze on the 5 Ogre, 4 Pudge respectively. Godaramen on the 3 Viper, and then Captain Shack Sparrow carrying things with the Luna for SADBOYS.
Yeah, I like the bottom lane. This bottom lane is going to be a good fight. Oh, look at that automatic D ward. Like, nah, you're not blocking that camp. I mean, the camp got blocked anyway. I think just from timing, but
yeah. Ooh, gets the hook onto Captain Shack Sparrow. Could be
Good
trouble
hook.
right off the bat, but without Rot still at level 1, Ivan Ooze is going to be the one who ends up taking a little more of the damage. Luna able to walk it off.
yeah, and Luna's gonna have to make sure she should already have a courier coming out with some regen, because
Yeah,
even the Viper right clicks are going to do a lot of damage. It's gonna keep her away from getting any last hits early on.
yeah, Viper, an absolutely brutal lane opponent. Let's see, it's hits on that. Leshrac already out to the lead. Boots. Spells get traded topside. Avalanche comes out onto Booty Knight. Falls low, but he'll be able to walk it off. Level 2s get picked up by the Radiant offlane.
Yeah, I'm really interested in this fight mid, because they both have pretty nukeable spells for creep waves. I think part of it's really just trying to get that timing on getting that 1 or 2 denies, because Lesh has already got 4 denies compared to Death Prophet's 2.
Yeah, last game we saw Boots get a bit of a
First blood.
deny advantage,
Thanks and have fun.
as is tradition, I have missed
Better
first blood.
yours than mine.
Karataki picks up the first blood on the Ricky. Pretty much every spell that these teams have used so far. Avalanche like finished off with a tree throw and the slow from Chant coming out to bring down
Didn't see that coming.
Booty Knight on this.
Yeah, I think that's my biggest problem with the Ricky, even as a 4. Is like early on, there's not really a lot you can do.
Yeah, Ricky contributes pretty much nothing to laning.
Yeah.
Very impactful as soon as he gets his shard. Until that point, you're basically just having a solo off lane with a little bit of chip damage.
Come get healed.
Yeah, it's tough to play. Oh, there goes a Pudge. Pudge goes down. Got a little too close to the tower.
Yeah, almost able to find the kill on Mies, but Mies does escape on the ogre.
I mean, I think that was a good calculated risk. I would have done it simply because if you can get that ogre out of the way, now you have nothing to stop the to protect the lane whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good move. It's just tough because you don't want to do that under tower.
Right.
And tower right clicks, they're not fun to take.
Yeah, eventually Pudge will be shrugging him off, but it's early.
Top tower is under attack.
Taking damage. Does have Rot now, is going to get a nice hook onto me, so maybe we'll be able to find that kill as the slows come out from Gauderoman as well.
Yeah, up top
Ogre
though,
goes
Pew
down.
Pew Pew might go down to Nashi with a ion shell on him.
It's the fairy fire, but the final hit does go
Yeah.
through. Karataki going to throw down the avalanche, but not in time to save their friend. Now she's picking up that kill.
Oh, good hook.
To...
But under tower again.
Oh, goes down.
got the-
Gauderoman now going to get pushed out of lane by Mies.
Yeah. I mean, and Mies has. I mean, Mies probably could have put a little more pain because the fireball was coming back off of cooldown, but I think he was looking to. Right now, he's doing some work. He's helping on securing some denies for the bottom lane. I think Nashi needs to be careful running around at like a third health. I don't know if you want to be that low against a
chilling.
Titan. Yeah, I don't
Here
know.
comes the Tiny stepping up now, but Booty Knight gonna discard that. Now the Avalanche not quite under tower. Booty Knight will
Come
shrug
on,
that one
sprites.
off.
So we've already got an urn on the Viper.
That is a pretty quick earn. Now Mies and Shaxper are going to square up on Ivan Ooze, bringing down the pain. Meanwhile, top, Nashi continues hanging out at too low health and
Radiant's
is finally
courier has
punished
been
for it.
killed.
Oh no! The tricks of the trade.
Ooh, can Booty Knight
Karataki
get out?
was like, you know what? I'm gonna get this money creep, this flag creep first. I don't know. I feel like with an Enchantress and Tiny, if you're running a Ricky 4, I think if you go, I mean, it's not conventional, it's not the norm, but if you drop and go at least 1 point early and smoke, you can disrupt some of their last hits and denies. Just
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah, I like the early point and smoke as well on the Ricky. It just gives you at least a little bit of utility in the early game.
Yeah.
Because you can jump in, throw down a smoke, dodge out, kind of plays. Gives you something to be able to do while you're waiting for the time to get your shard.
Yeah, and also with a Ricky, like I would play similar to like a bounty hunter. Like I would definitely have some vision ward behind their tier 1 tower,
Yeah.
and really disrupt their courier movements. Because I
Oh,
think
for
if you
sure.
you can stop these guys from getting any of their regen and mana regen back.
Leshrac rotates in with the double damage turn to find a kill on Ivan Ooze. Might have wanted more there on a mid-rotation. Death Prophets had this lane for herself for a bit, but Boots is still ahead on the last hits and XP, so be able to return to win now.
It's tough because the movement speed on Leshrac is ridiculous. Like,
Nature
I don't think
tells us.
anybody moves as fast as him except for like maybe Coddle, because he's able to run down there.
Actually playing with fire topside, does get hit by the avalanche, gonna run away, but the last spear finds its mark, and Nashi goes down.
Yeah, these guys got a lot of damage up here.
Yup. Very scary lane to play into. And that was without even an impetus. That was just a normal auto attack to finish off that kill. It would have been a brutal impetus with the surge away.
Yeah, I always feel like those are the worst if you can get that impetus out right before someone force stats and you're like, oh, yeah. Sorry about that. Like, I was only trying to hit you for 200, not 5,000. Sorry. Ivan's going on Jack Sparrow again. Jack Sparrow. And he lays an egg. It's cool. Boots is he's looking to try to keep up. He's still ahead of Bruman up mid.
Don't run off.
As far as level wise, I mean the level advantage is really only because of that rotation as of right now.
Yeah. Yeah, overall pretty even. Now the first wall of replica comes out top side.
Yeah.
Looks like BBA is going to be able to walk away from this alright. Ashy now taking more damage, stepping forward.
Where are you going?
Pew 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 pew, actually going to steal the illusion of himself from the wall of replica with the enchant. Now Nashi getting hit with twice the spears. Ooh, Boots finds the kill mid in the meantime.
Yeah, that illusion rune did some work.
Dire should look to their middle tower.
Good regen, good extra couple of right clicks. I mean, the illusions probably only did like 6-7 damage a piece, but it's enough to kind of disrupt the right clicks coming from the enemy. I feel like Karataki's, the fact his cosmetic is more of a hand, I feel like it's a high five every time I come back to that lane.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got the color that most people have on the high fives, the like red one as well. Now Captain Jack Sparrow going down, and it looks like it'll be a pair of kills as Mies falls as well. Looks like that was the first Viper strike coming out from the Viper. Doesn't even have a point in Nether Toxin yet, doesn't need it.
Doesn't need it, yeah. He's just going for right clicks because, I mean, as long as you can get in range, do a little damage, drop some, you know, drop a little poison attack on them and then be good to go, then you're just slowing them down enough for the rock to come through for the punch.
Yep.
Blessings upon a loyal warrior.
Alright, Nashi looking to start things off with a mech, as most of that built already.
Now, Bruman does not have ult for another 60 seconds, so I mean, does he stay mid and just kind of secure some gold and XP? I mean, he can still respond. He did not pick up any. He does not have any points in the silence, so even if he TPs into a team fight coming underneath one of his own towers, like, he can't stop a person silence-wise from casting spells.
Yeah. Kind of surprised to not see silence in the lane against the Leshrac. I feel like that would help disengage from some of these engagements that when Leshrac chooses to go. I guess it doesn't do a ton because Leshrac has so much damage over time that if you silence him like with Pulse Nova on, then
it doesn't matter.
Doesn't care.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah.
Q getting found top. Out ahead. Doesn't have Untouchable Aura yet, so Booty Knight is going to get chunks
but
away.
He has a lot. He has a good amount of regen, and I don't know if you want to go into. Oh, geez, good.
Ooh, Leshrac is there to help secure it with the stun. Avalanche onto 3 will allow Karataki to get out.
Yeah, I mean that's a good Yules.
An ult from Death Prophet Bruman in with the Exorcism.
Yeah, I just don't know if you want to be. I think you're running the wrong way. Death Prophet.
Well, it looks like they will find the kill on Boots, but will fall as well to efforts of Booty Knight, and it is the last of Boots' damage that goes off. I'm going to turn towards Karataki though. Has the Ion Shelled Illusion run him down. Nashi playing at such low health and not afraid.
Yeah.
Pew is back, so that will force the Radiant to retreat. So you end up just trading mids in the top lane. Overall, favored SADBOYS a bit more because you had the kill on Enchantress as well. But a pretty even trade. And you're probably pretty happy to slow down the Leshrac.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Bruman is really happy about that, especially if he can run up and grab this double damage real quick and then put a little damage on tower, but Leshrac and Riki are both mid now. There's no vision.
As the Yules from Boots to set things up. Stun doesn't quite connect.
Yeah,
That
it was
will
like
force
a
Boots to
quarter of a
retreat.
second off, but I feel like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if the Ricky really wants to go in yet and show himself, or if he's gonna.
Gonna look at
catches
PPP
Pew.
now. Does have level 6 now, so is going to be
Hunger
harder for
healed.
Blue Knight to put damage into. Is gonna go now that the spirits have been used and Booty's gonna rotate in.
Yeah, I think that Leshrac rotation was pretty well done.
Yep.
You're a disgrace to fall.
And that's the setup even without any
Radiant's middle tower is in danger.
any shard from the Ricky yet. Just that vision, like you were saying, can be enough to set up kills when you've got
Radiant
a hero
should
like
look to their
Leshrac that
bottom
can
tower.
Here's a
capitalize.
smoke play coming from mid. You got Wraithen and Ooze coming mid. Like that is a kill squad. I don't know if there's another parallel like this that is as much of a kill squad as this. All right, looks like they kind of backed up.
Yeah, not finding anything right away. Maybe hoping to find Luna farming in the jungle. He's off towards the triangle. Nashi low health again, but there's the mech. Keep him alive, and Karataki could be in trouble. No mana left. Yule's up from Boots. Could spell the end, and it will. Karataki goes down. So a nice kill for SADBOYS. Slow down
Radiant structures
that
are
carry
Yeah,
Tiny.
that's such a good setup. I mean, if you duels them, stun them, drop a smoke on them, like you're in there, you can't swing back. You're already stunned, and you're catching, you know, whatever damage over time Lesh is putting out at the time.
Yeah.
And he's gonna tear towers apart if he gets as he levels.
Yeah, good response from BBA though. Seeing all of those heroes top, they very quickly are able to get the mid tower. So it ends up being a trade of towers, which works out well for them.
Yeah.
Off of the back of Karataki going down. Maybe
I
looking
don't know
for
if Mies is
kill
in a
on
good
Mies
spot.
now.
Ah.
Would be trouble. Ivanu's walking in.
Because
Yeah.
Karataki had Karataki gone downwards instead of back up towards lane. I
Yeah.
don't think Mies goes back right away. I think he gets pinched.
Looks like BBA will be sending even more down here. Death Prophet will choose to back away. The other three will remain and focus on this tower. We'll work on it that hole there. The hook lands completely blind on to Mies, and they will find the ogre. I guess they had a sense of it with where the ignite came from, but
Right.
Radiant
Yeah,
really
I mean-
impressive hook timing.
That's the only thing about some spells, like the directional path and it's almost like a tracing bullet in like a Call of Duty. Like you see the trajectory and you're like, huh, I don't know exactly where he's at, but I can give you a pretty good idea. It looks like there's a rotation mid. I don't know. So there's a silence.
Rune has exorcism, so it could be tricky to engage on that Death Prophet, and so it looks like they will back away. Beast Rune bottled by Boots.
Dyer's middle tower is under attack.
And
Yeah, BBA blocked their ancient camp in SADBOYS' triangle. So they're
Ooh.
probably wandering around like, hey, is this blocked or was somebody walking through? Did they farm it? There they
Got
go.
Sleeping Dart ready on Booty Knight. Pew, 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 pew. Might have to be careful. Nobody really in the area to be able to respond. Somebody's going to TP in now, though, so I think, yep, we're going to see the turn. The Sleep
There's-
Shack Sparrow going to show up. And now here comes the damage and the silence. Does have the Untouchable aura, so these two particular heroes might have trouble bringing this hero down. Karataki now going to rotate in, throws down the Avalanche, catches the Ricky on the bottom of the stairs, and everybody will walk away. The
Yeah,
durability of that Enchantress playing huge.
The thing is with that, the PPP's got to really be careful is the fact that if he's got someone enchanted, that gives the Luna a target to bounce the shots off of.
Oh yeah, now Mies getting thrown back. Great setup from Karataki. Playing that almost more like the support Tiny with the toss back.
I wonder, like, how did Mies hurt these guys last game? Because I feel like
Getting stun on the
guys are
Shack
not
Sparrow. Really nice catch for them, and they do secure it. That was just normal Lucid Beam. No ult on yet. Now here's going to be the Exorcism. See if they can turn this into more. The damage from Boots is huge into the sleep as Rikio
lot
shows
of
up over the
damage.
hook.
Under tower.
Huge from
Oh!
Ivan Ooze.
Good hook.
Building does go down, but they do find the kill on Boots. Ivan pays for it with his life, but massive kill on the Leshrac. It's now Karataki brought down another avalanche. Booty Knight in trouble now. Pew 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 pew. Throwing the damage in from the side.
Thanks for playing Dota 2.
And now they're gonna find Nice as well.
Dominating
Maybe,
performance.
yes.
Impossible kill.
The ignite damage. Oh, Shaq
Gotta get
Sparrow.
out.
Oh, the
Oh,
Lucent
there's no
Beast
way.
The animation. That is incredible.
That was a good escape.
Oh, that was so close. Tiny would have been just dead to the Lucent Beam for sure. Not to mention it canceling the teleport. Wow. So ends up being huge for BBA there, I think. They get 4 for 2. Get out with their carry's life. Karataki stepping up pretty close to the Leshrac in net worth now. They get a little tower damage, not a ton with Death Prophet dying earlier in the fight, but yeah, it looks really good for them.
I feel like I don't know what they're doing out there. I feel like they took a ruler and put it on the minimap. They have a straight line setup of vision of wards that BBA set up during all that fighting.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, that pillar ward in the Radiant Trouble, which Mies and Booty Knight just both found at the same time.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
That plays huge into those fights around the Radiant mid tower. Because it just gives you so much information and so much safety to be able to retreat towards that. Got most of a Yasha done for Jack Sparrow on top of the Dragonlance and Mask of Madness. Me still just sitting on the urn, looking to finish the Spirit Vessel. Leshrac has the Bloodstone done, gonna work on the BKB now. That's gonna be really scary for Boots. And
Smoke play, these guys, SADBOYS coming across mid.
Yep. And they're gonna run into quite a few heroes as BBA is smoking as well.
Smoke.
The high ground advantage could be huge. They run into so much. The avalanche is out. The rot damage. Oh no. Oh, but now tons of damage coming out from the Leshrac with the Bloodstone. He's still not down. 3 dead. Make it 4. Oh my goodness. The Bloodstone timing on the Leshrac. Full team wipe. It looks disastrous to start for SADBOYS. But man, that Leshrac Bloodstone timing could not come at more perfect of a time.
Yeah, and that's the problem with the Leshrac. Like, no matter if you have a silence or not, the issue is that he still has everything running and going off as soon as he pops it.
Dire's middle tower is under
Absolutely
attack.
devastating smoke into smoke, and it all turns up SADBOYS, who are going to get a couple
Dire's
towers
middle
off of
tower is
this.
under attack.
Or at least damage on a couple towers. They do have lanes pushed a bit more towards them, so Radiant, or Dire is all going to be back up before they really collapse into any towers.
What have we
Yeah, they're gonna push this bottom tower. This bottom tower doesn't have any damage on it. It has 4.
Wow.
Well, now it has. I was gonna say it only had 4 damage on it for a second.
And looks like this tower might go down pretty quickly, despite Dire's best efforts to defend it. They'll have to let it go. Too many heroes here from SADBOYS. Man, what a turn in the tables from that fight. All 3 cores of SADBOYS out on top of the net worth charts now.
Yeah, I mean, the BBA was doing great. They had everything going on. Like, as far as process-wise, their thought was, we smoke, we go into their jungle, take their jungle over again, because we know they just dewarded within a minute or 2 ago. It was just bad. It was just tough timing because SADBOYS turned around and said, we're going to smoke into their triangle.
Double damage.
Whether they were thinking to catch one or maybe just get a little extra vision out there or, you know, take their ancients. But it was just really bad luck the way that worked out for BBA.
Yeah, I think if they had gone moments sooner before the Leshrac had that Bloodstone, it would have been a perfect smoke gang for them. But SADBOYS playing around the timing of that critical item really paid off for them.
So Tiny's running around, has a Shadow Blade now. They're looking to... BBA's looking to reestablish their vision and dominance over the SADBOYS' jungle. But now they're rotating to protect that tier 2.
Yep, they get a nice hook onto Boost, but has the Yules for the save for now. Exorcism going to get popped into the stun. Bloodstone is getting used now, it looks like. But they have so much damage. Is it going to be enough? It is. Finally brings Boots down. Ivanhoe's and the Viper very low, though. Nash getting brought down low as well. And Radiant asleep without any more damage. Here comes the Luna ult. Oh, and the Yules saves Shaq from...
But Rumen might catch a couple of rebounds if he's not careful.
But overall, even if you get out just defending your tower and bringing the Leshrac down, it is pretty good.
Yeah.
Shaq Sparrow is staying in the area to farm a little bit more. Be careful of this Shadow Blade Tiny. Stepping out of the base now.
Yeah, these guys need to get some heals going on, because you don't want to turn around and think you're safe and then catch another sleeping dart in the face.
Yeah. Looks like Booty Knight should have Aether Lens showing up, so get those sleeping darts from even farther away, get the smoke screen coming out from farther away.
I don't know if they're gonna... Do you really... I guess you... I mean, with the Luna, you can always defend. Oh, good hook! Oh, no. Captain Sparrow might not make it out of this.
Yeah, gonna be absolutely blown up. No one there to help. Looks like that would be...
There's no vision on that peaks, and it's a tier 1. I mean, I understand it's easy money for a Luna most of the times, but... as you can see there, all it takes is just a little bit of... being a little bit out of position for to get hooked out and then thrown into an enemy mosh pit.
Yeah, so a nice pickup for BBA, bringing the gold lead now down to 3k as visible heroes stare each other in the face.
Yeah, I think that's just how it has to be sometimes.
Both teams going to look to get a little more security on their own sides of the map. Radiant Ward is going to see quite a bit here. See if they want to make a play off of that.
Looks like a couple people gearing up mid. Can we see another double smoke play? That's really what I'm looking for now.
You'll see they do get the pipe on Ivan Ooze is going to be... That's a pretty significant timing for the Dire side. It's going to reduce quite a bit of damage coming out from SADBOYS.
Alright, these guys are all under triangle. Pudge has
Ooh, they
pipe.
get scanned out here
Enemies.
by their Radiant.
They know it. There's a Tiny. Does a Tiny catch anybody? No. I think Booty Knight has the proper vision to watch his back.
So they still dodge each other for now.
The problem is there's no vision on that bottom spire of the bottom lane. It's never.
But I think really they weren't seeing each other at all and just were kind of feeling out that where it was safe to be, where it wasn't safe to be.
Yeah. Oh, there's a smoke play. SADBOYS is smoked up. Looks like they're going towards mid. They're not sure yet. They're changing course. They're now going back up into the triangle, hoping for good luck again. The problem is they could catch Wraithen.
Yeah, it looks like they will find... No, did they not quite see him behind the tree? Now they do. They get the Yules to start things off, pop the BKB into the stun and the sleep. Viper hook is not quite there with the slows, and so Gonramen goes down.
Regeneration.
The rest of BBA will have to scurry away.
Yeah, I mean that was a pretty good smoke play. They got the Viper out of there. They're able to put a little bit of damage on mid tower whenever the fortify goes down. If he doesn't kill the creeps first.
Like he's gonna be asleep on pew 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 pew, but do they see Karataki is here? And vacuumed in. Now gonna turn towards with the avalanche onto Boots. Bloodstone gonna get used. So will survive for now, deciding if they want to go back in. Is silenced for the moment. And SADBOYS are gonna disengage. Hook does not quite connect on Nashi.
That hook
are able to escape.
That hook would have been horrible. I would have felt that in my soul if he had got that hook off.
Yeah, that would have been a huge one, because Nashi would have just been taken apart at that point with SADBOYS all retreating.
Here's a smoke play going back into the triangle?
Yeah, gonna see what they can find. First one...
Yeah, but Tiny is not there.
Now pops the BKB Exorcism.
Tiny's farming.
And Pew 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 getting brought down low first with all the magic damage from Boots. Rumen's Exorcism damage isn't going to be enough. Does not look like it, as now the stun's turn as the BKB ends. Rumen almost going to fall, but has just enough lifesteal. Ooze does go down. They get their return kill onto the Darkseer. Now Karataki has shown up, but is getting brought down low already. Boots, does fall with the avalanche just as the BKB expires. Mies now trying to finish off Gara on the side. Gets the stun. Rumen playing with fire there, throwing out the silence at the end. And so it ends up being 3 for 4 in SADBOY's favor. And it looks like with Captain Shack Sparrow surviving there, now at the top of the net worth, ahead of even the Leshrac, Luna will be able to tee off on the tower for a moment when the Fortify comes in.
Yeah, I think that was a good smoke play to immediately disengage. SADBOYS took off. They're like, hey, we're gonna leave, we'll go through the triangle, farm on the way out. BBA turned around and smoked, but for some reason the Tiny is either waiting for an item and needed a couple bucks, or just was, hey, you guys should be fine without me. But him showing up a little late, he had TP'd into the bottom lane tier 2 tower, maybe 5 seconds after the fight had already started. I wonder how much different that would have been if he was able to go in there and be part of the initial portion of that fight.
Yeah, I think we could have seen that be a BBA favored fight with how close of a fight it ended up being if the Tiny was able to beat just a few moments sooner.
Yeah, because even a stun and an extra avalanche, I mean, he would have had that off cooldown for the end part of that fight. I don't know what that would have done to a Leshrac or a Ricky earlier on.
Things settling out for now. Let's look at what some of these heroes have for new items coming up. You've got BKB finished on Luna. Force Staff almost done for Mies. Nashi has the Blink Dagger. That can be pretty significant on the Darkseer with that vacuum to set things up for them, especially into the AoE abilities of Ricky and Leshrac.
Yeah, I mean, there's... I don't know. I it's... Having a Blink on a Darkseer is good in some aspects. I feel like there's other things you could grab or use or build that might benefit the team a little bit better. But if these guys have been playing for a while, which I'm pretty sure they have been, having multiple Iron Shells going down the lane like it is now, and then having the ability to blink in, drop wall, drop vacuum, while an Ion Shell is dropped on either an illusion or a creep wave coming in, that's a lot of damage, and it's going to create a pretty significant knee-jerk reaction when that first happens.
Yeah. Thing big.
I mean, Bruman has a Shiva's queued up. Now you've got Nashi with a with a haste rune.
Yep.
But he's going to haste away. They're smoking. BBA is smoking and going into the SADBOYS' triangle. They might catch Mies.
Rumen's not with them, and is going to get caught out by Yule's able to throw down the BKB, now going to turn backwards in with it, and now here comes the rest of BBA collapsing onto the back line. This could be a huge bait. Can they bring down Boots? No, the Bloodstone comes out before he goes down, and 2 fall for BBA first. Make that 3. 4 kills for Captain Shaq Sparrow. Oh, Nashi denies the rampage from Captain Shaq Sparrow. But
Report him.
Wow.
Report Nashi. Yeah, that was just tough. Like, you have to find a way to stop the Lesh.
It was so close. They had so much damage into the Leshrac. They had him in the Pudge stun. They had him stunned up for so long, and then right before he falls, BKB Bloodstone completely turns the fight the other way. Plus you get the Eclipse coming out from the Luna. Massive AoE damage. And that whole fight just happened in a tiny area.
Yeah, he basically face rolled on his keyword and just activated everything when that stun was over. Like, he basically just wiped his entire keyboard. It didn't matter what button he hit, he just needed to hit them all.
Yeah, I can imagine him sitting there during the punch stun with just fingers on every button he has, mashing them.
I mean, he honestly, if he walked the way he walked into that battle, you know, because they had gone on one person in the mid, everybody else was on BBA was wrapping behind them. I mean, I could even envision him punching the keyboard with the, you know, the side of his fist, like something go off, like he's just, you know, pleading with his keyboard for something to go off, and getting everything off somehow.
Yeah, and panicked or not, it all worked out for Boots and the rest of SADBOYS as they turn that fight, turn it into a Roche, a set of barracks, and now a Roche. Just the first stages of the game.
Rumen has to be careful because these guys are pretty close to where he's at now.
Yeah, and Booty Knight, ooh, with the ward on the other side. Booty Knight could put him to
sleep right now, and that might be a problem.
Yeah, I'm honestly surprised the sleeping dart didn't come out once the observer went down.
Yeah, I don't think they knew where the rest of the guys were at.
Yeah.
So, like, if the other guys were at the rest of the time, I mean, they do have Aegis, so that's an extra life they have. The problem you have here now is that Luna doesn't even have to hit anybody other than just give you some bounces off.
And damage coming out quickly. So much tower close between a Luna and a Leshrac. Now Leshrac stepping up, does have the Aegis, but is getting brought down quite a bit. Now the Yule's into the Bloodstone. Could this be another devastating turnaround from Boots? Into the back line. Here comes the Viper Strike. They do find enough damage to bring Leshrac down once, but now Ivan is getting brought down by the rest of the Radiant team.
Sleeping died on the Tiny. Tiny, wake up!
Garrett's talking. Oh, all of the damage does go down. Boots continuing to charge forward, totally alone under tier 4s with the Yules. Finds another one. Could this be the second life now? Could it have been too greedy? Yes. They do find the kill, but all of that is space for the rest of the SADBOYS to pick up.
Oh,
top barracks, and now stepping forward. Oh,
vacuum,
too far.
Smoke, sleeping dart.
Yep.
They're unstoppable.
All of the setup finds 2 more kills for Shaq Sparrow. No buybacks remaining. 4 used by the Dire, and no money for it on the Tiny. And now Captain Shaq Sparrow and the Siege Creeps just going to tee off on the tier 4s. And BBA may just be sitting there watching their fall.
I'm glad Boots died. I'm gonna say, I'm gonna be the guy that's like, he got a little greedy. He was standing next to the Ancient. He had his butt rubbing up on the Ancient. He deserved to die under the tier 4 towers. But that was a great game. I mean, these team fights were insane. Like I don't think I've seen this many smoke 5-on-5 teams, you know, team fights in a very long time.
Yeah, the setups for these fights, how they played out, just insane. I mean, BBA had everything they needed to get into these fights. Perfect engages with these smokes, and they look so good. And then Leshrac hits a couple buttons, and it completely flips the fight around. Really, really great performance from both teams. MVP of the whole series has to go to Boots. Insane, really carried performances out of the mid lane on both the Lina and now the Leshrac. Glimmers of a lot of games of TI I watched with those two heroes is really popping off for their teams.
Yeah, they gotta. I mean, that's the only thing that you know, it's tough to say that's the only thing, but the Bloodstone on the Lesh and the amount of damage he was able to put out in a lot of those team fights, in every team fight, is just insane. The fact that they were able to get him a couple of times was great, but then you know, aside from the magic damage, you're catching all the extra right click damage coming from the Luna. You've got smoke, you've got a sleeping dart, you know, you've got ignite probably burning you. You're not even really paying attention to the ignite into the ion shell, but throwing an ion shell on a Lesh, you know, is just further making him a pillar of death, so to speak.
Yeah, the Darkseer Leshrac combinations with all of the setups from their supports, and then Luna is even more AoE damage. Just the part of the problem, not just the Leshrac getting his abilities off, but the way these fights played out, where they were in such a small area, benefited SADBOYS way more because they had this Leshrac, where even without the Bloodstone, he would have been dumping just so much damage into this fight. Into this small area, and you're hitting like all 5 heroes on the other side.
These guys were fighting in phone booths. There was 3 team fights where they literally had 10 people in a phone booth.
Yeah,
I mean, elbows. I'm sure some people's ears got bitten. You know, there's probably pinching, which is definitely illegal in Dota. So I'm sure somebody pinched someone. I'm gonna guess Pew Pew probably pinched the hell out of me once or twice, and I'm not, you know, nothing against Pew Pew Pew, but he probably was scrapping with him like, look, I'm going to do damage to you somehow. But the fights, like you said, the fights were happening in such close quarters. It was like the perfect storm for Lesh to kind of just pour out as much damage. Didn't have to worry about dropping too much stuff. Had the Yules in case he needed to kind of give himself more time while his spells were going off. But again, he had the nice setup because he was buffed by the Ogre. He probably had an Ion Shell on him or an Ion Shell on the Ricky, who was invisible floating around. And that smoke is so dangerous because you can't do anything inside of the smoke unless you pop your BKB. And I had to probably go back and see how many BKBs were on BBA. It looked like only 1 was built, 1 was on the way, or 2 were built. So they had a BKB on the Death Prophet and the Tiny. So you kind of had to pick and choose. Like, do you pop it as soon as you're under smoke? Do you pop it when you see the Lesh? You know, it's tough to pick one or the other. Because, you know, the timings on those things go down so fast after time, especially in drawn out fights when you're having multiple upon multiple team fights.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's tough, and they had pretty good heals. I mean, both teams. It looks like Nashi probably did double the healing of the Enchantress. The Viper had a Spirit Vessel, but it doesn't look like it wasn't used defensively. So I don't know if maybe more heals would have helped them stay in the fight a little bit longer. But they needed to figure something out against that Leshrac once he popped the Bloodstone.
Yeah, I think the Spirit Vessel on Viper, definitely, like, you need those regen reducing items to help deal with things like the Leshrac Bloodstone. But Bloodstone on Viper has been very popular lately as well. And I wonder if that would have been enough of a difference to keep the Viper in the fights longer. We saw like the pipe built on the Pudge, definitely helping do something to mitigate that damage, but there was just so much damage coming out of this Leshrac.
Yeah, I mean, you needed the pipe on the Pudge. Like, it's just necessary. I mean, that's what he needs for the most part. But then it's kind of like, if you take the vessel off of the Viper, put it on the Pudge, then that gives the Viper the opportunity to build something a little more damaging, something to enhance his AoE, his survivability a little bit. I don't know. I don't know if that is the answer, or if it would have made much of a change, because that would have slowed down possibly the pipe purchase by the Pudge. But these teams, this is ridiculous. I'm glad I wasn't playing, because I would have lost a keyboard one way or another.
Yeah. Yeah,
I would have.
I'm playing in the same division as these teams, so I am looking forward to and also dreading our matches against them.
Oh yeah, I'm taking notes. That's why I'm casting, right? I'm just taking notes for when I play against these guys.
Oh, of course, yeah. I was like last year. I was like reliably cast it. Once we got to playoffs, I would just cast the match in the playoffs that would decide the team that I was going to play against next. It's like, okay, here's what they just did and how
Right.
they just won. Let's figure out how to beat that.
Like, never give so and so a void, faceless void. That's never ever gonna happen.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think these guys did a great job. I think both teams did very well. Again, like I was saying, during the pregame, during the draft phase, BBA did adjust. They changed things around. They decided, look, we need to come up with some more smoke plays and get a couple more kills. They were on a roll up until they literally ran into that smoke play in their triangle.
Yeah.
As the first 5-on-5 team fight.
Yeah, that was like right after they had that great fight at the Radiant Tier 2 mid tower. And really, if they had exactly the right idea, if they had only known that the Leshrac hit his Bloodstone timing,
and that was killer. Like,
yeah.
It's almost like you wish you can take the sound bite of Boots saying, "I have Bloodstone, go go go." Like, that's what was said. It had to be something to that effect.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's exactly why SADBOYS were smoking at that point. They were trying to get a play off of that timing, and so if they weren't quite at that point yet, if that was a little bit slower, and BBA made that same smoke play, they were probably finding multiple kills on the Radiant side of the map and turning that into a tower, Roche, a whole different game.
Yeah, I mean, if you go to the player items, I'm looking at the chart now. So the Luna got, only had a Blade of Alacrity building into the Yasha. The Bloodstone came at 19 minutes for Lesh. At 19, Darkseer's pipe was also built. So at the 19-minute mark, there was a pipe and a Bloodstone on the SADBOYS side. Viper had just completed the Spirit Vessel. Pudge did not have pipe yet. And at the 19-minute mark, Brewman had just gotten, Boots of Travel. So I don't know what else. I mean, it's really, it's impossible. It's impossible to say what would have happened at the 19-minute mark if some of these items were 20 seconds behind, or if it was a different item choice. Maybe Brewman, instead of getting bots, that's 2,000 gold and about 5 minutes of no items between getting the Yules at 14.5 minutes all the way to getting bots at 19.5 minutes. So I don't know if there was something, that would be something for the Dota gods to try to, calculate and formulate, but I don't know what item could have gone in that little spot there for that 5-minute mark, which could have changed that around.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Maybe
That's Prophet doesn't really build her shard, right? What does that even do?
The shard is nice. The shard is fear after siphoning for a couple seconds.
Ooh, yeah, maybe that's
popping that on a Lesh, forcing the Lesh to move away from his team, unintentionally, or maybe instead of even building just the voodoo mask, so he also has spell lifesteal. Because I think that would have been a little bit better. That would have kept Brewman in the game a little bit longer, if he was also getting spell lifesteal like the Lesh was from the Death Prophet ult. I think that changes things a little bit. Yeah. But then again, there's no way to tell unless we actually go back minute by minute, second by second.
Right.
If those Boots of Travel probably saved his life, or also extended the fight by a few seconds, just because he was out of the way of a smoke, got out of the smoke faster, didn't get hit by Ignite, condition B, C, D, whatever other things you want to throw out there. Yeah, I don't want to play these guys. I want to change the vision, so I just want to turn into a stand-in. I'm not doing this. This is ridiculous.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for us for the cast. Thanks so much for joining us. Thanks for joining me for Game 2. That was an absolute blast.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we'll see you for the next games. Be plenty more still to come. This is only the very first week of this event. So looking forward to lots more of this action coming up soon. Have a great night or a great whatever part of the day you're in, wherever you are in the world. And thanks for joining us.
Have a good night, everybody.